Hello, everyone. Welcome back for some more Let's Play Higurashi. It is the day of the Watanagashi festival, which, you know what that means, right? Means I think we might see some people dying. That's not the button I wanted to press. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's okay. It's okay. We're good. Okay, June 20th, 1982, 1:40 p.m. What was I doing today? Nothing in particular. This sounds like it's like retrospective. Nothing at all. I just wanted to play hooky. I woke up in the afternoon. Watch this day be like super short because we're not there. Wait, I never even considered that. Right? I ate instant foods for lunch while watching boring TV programs. I had a light headache, so I lay down on the sofa. I wouldn't wake up again if I went to sleep. Whatever. I decided to sleep. I'd already told Sis that Satoshi-kun had asked her to look after Satoko. Oh. Oh, you passed the buck. I didn't have to do anything myself. I fell asleep, but my head was aching a little bit. That would be all I'd have to deal with. People also pointed out something that, like, the conversation here and then that we had with Satoshi, it being repeated through Keiichi there, did confirm that that was Shion there. Yeah, this is like typing away. This sounds like a report. Huh. June 20th, 1982, 5:02 p.m. The aunt believed that all... Yeah, okay, this is interesting because this is like from someone's like narrative perspective. Well, that kind of... The aunt believed that all the villagers frowned upon her because her brother-in-law and his wife were pro-Dem activists. She surely experienced some fallout during the time of the dispute, but people had stopped looking coldly upon her, even though she assumed otherwise. She was paranoid, believing that all the villagers hated her, and so she decided to hate them back. Her attitude, of course, begot hatred from the villagers, and the situation became exactly the way she thought it was from the start. What came first? Their poor relationships with the neighbors, or her husband's affair? She didn't know herself. Her husband claimed that he got a lover because he was fed up with her attitude. She, in turn, claimed that their relationship with the neighbors went sour because her husband had damaged their reputation. Only Satoshi was aware that both happened at almost the same time. Their quarrels had become a daily routine now. When the husband came home late, the wife would shout at him at the entrance. Satoshi wondered why they didn't get a divorce, their marriage being as rotten as it was. I feel like that's just a thing in Japan that apparently, well, not I feel I've heard, is not really a thing that like is quickly done, if at all. There are many cases where marriages will dissolve, and because one party doesn't sign the paperwork, it just doesn't happen and they are still legally married. But he secretly knew the reason for that too. It was the fortune his parents had left. Of course it is. Of course it is. Always comes back to money. His aunt had hidden their bank book and stamp. Their what? That could be a real thing that exists in North America, and I just freaking don't know about it. That's from a different time, man. And never allowed her husband access to them. So her husband would search the house for them. She'd find out that he stole some money from her purse. This would cause yet another fight. Yeah, this is not a healthy relationship. Do just horrible people attract each other? I wonder. Satoshi had never been aware that his parents had that much money when they were alive. After their death, however, one of his relatives told him. He was informed that his parents had left a large sum of money in some bank account. Satoshi couldn't understand why they had that kind of money, because his family has been, as far as he knew, poor. Well, that's interesting. It was because of the dam were they paid off? Because of the dam project. His parents oh my god, his parents probably got the money in return for their cooperation with the government. Well, that kind of makes sense why they might have joined it there. if they got a big payout, like, that's honestly understandable. At a certain point, like, dropping your morals for money, I mean, it sucks to say, but it makes sense. They had strived to get more villagers on their side, provided information to them and whatnot. The money was probably compensation for their efforts. His aunt and uncle never had any intention to adopt them until they heard about the money. After someone from some financial institution revealed its existence, they appeared to adopt Satoko and Satoshi. The couple would fight every day. Eventually, Satoshi's uncle started spending more time at his mistress's house. He realized that he had no reason to return to his own home, because he'd just end up in a fight with his wife if he did. When he stopped coming home, Satoshi felt relieved. Neither their uncle nor their aunt treated the two siblings very well. Satoshi's aunt wouldn't have to vent her frustrations upon them. The reason the couple fought was their corrupted relationship, so if they separated, there wouldn't be any more fights. Satoshi had thought that at first. But even after they separated, his aunt still had a short temper. Yeah, that's not an instant solution in the slightest. Another woman had stolen her husband. The villagers must have been talking behind her back. It was mortifyingly embarrassing. Since she lost an opponent to fight, Satoshi's aunt directed her hate toward the siblings. Satoshi had been observing her. He learned that she would get upset and she learned when she would get upset and how to avoid her attention. He managed to get by without upsetting her by turning a keen eye to her behavior and avoiding conflicts. But Satoko couldn't do that. She hated her aunt and didn't even try to hide it. Satoshi told her to behave in their aunt's presence, but her eyes were always filled with hatred. Satoshi strived to reduce the conflict between them as much as possible. He stepped in to mend the relationship. It was a heavy burden for him, though, because he was still just a boy. He bore so much. He covered for his little sister by lying and maneuvering. He tried to maintain a tangible sense of peace, but he couldn't do that forever. The relationship between Satoko and her aunt had already spiraled out of control. Satoshi found something in the trash. Was it frickin' Colonel Sanders? Will that ever come up in the plot again? It probably wasn't a legitimate place for trash disposal. If it was, sanitation workers would come and pick it up. He passed by the street all the time, so he noticed when new things were dumped there. He found a plain-looking desk, of the kind likely to be seen in offices. Somebody must have dumped it within the past few days. His aunt liked to bring usable trash home. Oh, so she's a hoarder, too! Excellent. Great. That's just what you need. She'd had Satoshi help bring a chest home just a few days ago. If he told her about the desk, she'd want it. His aunt hated to find bugs and garbage in the drawers, so she'd always open them to check before carrying the thing home. Satoshi opened all the drawers, all of which were empty. After that, he turned around and walked away for about 5 steps. He was standing in a knee-high bush. There, he laid something he'd been carrying all the time, until today. Oh my god, wait. Is this his plan to, like, bring his aunt to see the desk? And now he's gonna put the bat here to bash her brains in? It'd be very hard to find unless you specifically knew it was there to begin with. Looking satisfied, Satoshi looked around for some landmark to remember the place by. This is remarkably similar to Keiichi's attempt. June 20th, 1982, 5:51 p.m.
Hey, Oyaji!
So this is now actually Mion.
今年も来たね。また根こそぎかっさらってくから覚悟しときなよ。
So it's crazy because this is the same sort of like haha fun shenanigan times scene that we know, but because this music's playing and we know what's in the background, like it's much more sinister.
その先のお嬢ちゃんは今年も元気がいいな。あ、そっちの子は新顔かい？
この子はね、竜宮レナ。こう見えてても結構やるよ。 そんなことないよ。よろしくお願いしますね。
おう、こっちこそよろしくな。今年もいろいろ景品を持ってきたんだぜ。もちろん真剣勝負だ。根こそぎ持ってけるもんなら持ってけってんだ。
I truly wonder what the prizes would be. I don't know. It's just something that I think about, and I'm like, what would be the hot ticket item of this year? I don't know, like a Gundam model kit.
レナは可愛いものには目がないのですよ。ああ、あのぬいぐるみとそっちのぬいぐるみはレナの好みだね。
A girl would like that. It's been a while since we heard that. Holy crap. It's that too.
ダメだよ。まだ準備中だよ。おい。
レナ、ダメダメ。まだ準備中だってさ。ちゃんと回転したら根こそぎさらってやりな。もうダメだよ。レナのものなんだよ。お持ち帰り。
I really hope when we get to the fighting game that she has a command grab that's called I'm taking you home. Just grabs you. I was joking. There's literally a Gundam there. Oh my god. Literally right in the center. Oh my god, I was super right. I don't know if we had this background before for me to remember that. I definitely wasn't in my active memory. Rena lost her marbles over the stuffed animal. Everybody laughed. Everybody except Satoko. Oh god. The defeated eyes with the light smile is honestly even sadder. She was standing by herself some distance from the crowd. Her eyes looked dull. Rika walked up to Satoko, smiling ear to ear in an effort to cheer her up. Satoko looked down. Even if she got to have fun today, her circumstances at home wouldn't change. Well, unless...
意地悪なおばさんは今日はお祭りには来ませんですよ。そんなことは分かってますわ。ならいっぱい笑っていっぱい楽しくなるのですよ。ニパー。
I don't know if I told you guys, but I got a shirt in Japan, which is just Rika's face with Nippa on it. It was the last one in a discount bin. I cannot wear that in public.
Nippa. Nippa.
Thanks for the multiple audio clip takes of that.
申し訳ございませんけど、放っておいてくださいませ。どうしてSatokoは笑いませんですか?
Satoko sulkily glimpsed at Rika. She gave her a look as though she wanted to say that Rika should know the reason. Even if she could have fun today, nothing would change between her and her evil aunt. No matter how fun the festival was, when she went home, her aunt would be there. The aunt would find something wrong with Satoko, get mad and shout at her so loudly the neighbors would hear. How can she have fun, even just for today, while knowing all that? Satoko didn't say that out loud, but her eyes betrayed her emotions to Rika.
ではSatokoの辛いのが今日でおしまいになるなら、Satokoは笑ってくれますですか?
Satoko gasped. She thought Rika might do something to help. But soon after, she realized that Rika was just trying to comfort her. Could her suffering end today? Because of Rika? How? Satoko knew there was really nothing Rika could do. And so, after just one moment of freedom, Satoko fell into depression again.
Rika, くだらない気休めは聞きたくないですわ。Satoko?
Oh, yeah, that's the other voice. Rika's voice was clearer than Satoko had ever heard before.
もう決まっていることなのです。
Yep, there it is. June 20th, 1892. June 20th, 1982. 8:11 p.m. Satoshi snuck out the window after supper. He heard the distant ruckus of the festival. The festival would end at 9 p.m. After the Watanagashi ceremony, there was going to be a raffle drawing. So there were two types of people in Hinamizawa. The people who could go home for dinner, and the ones who would stay until after the raffle was over. It's actually like super smart to do that, because then that means that the rush home is divided in two, you know? Either relaxing at home or still at the festival. There were only those two patterns. On top of that, there weren't many neighbors in the vicinity of Satoshi's house. As a result, he found nobody on the streets. On that night, the small village seemed especially desolate. Satoshi knew it was going to be like this. But he would keep worrying until he saw it for himself. He was barefooted but started running without hesitation. He felt as though he'd become a wild animal, running on his bare feet. He got the impression that he could run faster than usual. Yeah, it's called adrenaline, buddy. You're trying to probably kill someone, huh? Not only his running ability, his vision, his hearing, and his sense of smell. All his senses were keener, including his sixth sense. He could almost sense the presence of people in the distance, if only when crouching like an animal. It felt strange, as though he had stepped into another world. He'd been feeling tense and anxious until today, battling with his own fear. But now he felt as though he had metamorphosed into a different person. June 20th, 1982, 8:37 p.m.
それではお楽しみ抽選会の説明をこれより始めますので
Wow, you are really into this.
どうぞ皆さん櫓の周りにお集まりくださいな
Wow. Why are you putting... That's not like a just being loud voice. That is a character voice. The festival had reached its climax. The raffle was going to start. Both the women who were dancing and those who were waiting for the raffle gathered around the altar. This was the first time they'd held a raffle. The planning committee decided to hold one from this year onward to attract more people to the festival. At first, the prizes were things the committee members had donated, but Oryu, not appreciating how pathetic they looked, had them thrown away. Oryu took the initiative and brought, oh my god, a brand new TV, a washing machine, a cooling fan, and other such things. Those are actually kind of cool. Like, actually, those are things that, I mean, the TV, of course, but like a new washing machine, it's like a thing that you realize you're an adult when you hear that and you're like, let's go. The committee wanted to keep it small initially, but it turned out big thanks to her. Oryu was upset because the committee members weren't enthusiastic enough in her opinion. Some of the members thought it'd be very difficult to prepare prizes of equal value the following year, so this might be the very first and last raffle. Forgot she had a sprite.
だいぶかかったんじゃないの？運営費で建て替えするよ。
すったら、うな程度で建て替えなんてアホらしい。銭金の問題じゃないんね。たく。
まあまあそう言わないで。お嬢さんのおかげでできた抽選会なんだから。
こんな私一人でどうにかすりゃええんちゅうわけとちゃいねや。パホクサ。
The mayor, Kimiyoshi, was having a tough time pacifying Oryu. All of a sudden, one of the committee members burst into the tent in a rush. He looked upset, so Kimiyoshi assumed that somebody probably got hurt in an accident.
どうしたの、牧野さん。そんなに息を弾ませたら心臓が破りっちゃうよ。
Kimiyoshi made a joke to calm him down. Makino, however, still looked tense. He whispered something to Kimiyoshi. Even without hearing the exchange between Makino and Kimiyoshi, it was plain as day there was bad news.
お嬢さん、悪い話なんだけどいいかい？
Kimiyoshi, accompanied by Makino, moved to Oryu's side and spoke in a very serious tone. Kimiyoshi whispered to her the exact same words Makino told him.
いやはや、参ったよな。
参るも参らもなんね。三度あっちゃんは。
There we go.
四度あるっちゅうこっちゃな。
お嬢さん、そりゃ笑えないや。
面白い話でもなんでもなぎゃ。 面倒が増えただけっちゃね。
I don't know why my eyes are freaking out. Calm down, me.
警察が今身元を調べてるらしい。どうも相当顔面を
Oh
やられ
god,
て
the
るら
face
し
was
くて、
completely
身
destroyed.
元の特定が難しそうなんだと。
That's crazy. The face destroyed? I don't like that.
顔がわからんでもおおよその想像はつくっちゃな。
え、心当たりがあるのかい？
Or you glared at Kimiyoshi and then started chuckling.
バカがWatanagashiの祭りにも顔を見せん。不信心者に決まっとろうがね。
Wait. Lad. Wait.
ちゃんとお社様を敬って祭りに来ちょるんは、そんな目には合わなんとよ。
Or you kept laughing. Kimiyoshi and Makino didn't know how to react to that. June 20th, 1982, 9:04 p.m.
しかし
Now, who are you? Wait. P, right? Oh, just straight up no graphics otherwise.
こりゃ無残なもんっすね。
クマちゃん、
Oh, that's Kuma-chan. Okay.
死に方っていうのは本人が望んだものでない限
So,
り、
first time seeing him, I
どん
think.
なでも無残なもんです。お悔やみ申し上げちゃいますよ。そっちどう？ポッケの中身とか個人が特定できそうなものは？
The forensic investigators shook their heads.
サンダル履きで服装もラフ。近くにお住まいの方でしょうね。服装の特徴から周辺に聞き込みをすればすぐに割れそうっすね。
I mean, can we get
それ
gender?
しかないな。
That'd be nice.
課長からこの山一服装さしてかかりそうだからって脅されてます。その辺注意してくださいよ。
了解っす。
Kumagai gathered some officers and gave them
入江
directions.
先生が到着しました。先生、あそこです。
The young doctor got out of his car and headed in the victim's direction.
どうも遅れて申し訳ありません。抽選会の手伝いの最中だったもので。
先生、今日の祭りでだいぶ飲んでたでしょう。
Sure hope not if he drove here.
アルコール本当に抜けてます。
Yeah.
後で風船でも膨らましてもらっちゃおうかな。
When were breathalyzers made? I feel like the 80s feels real early for them.
ご安心を。運転はスタッフに代わってもらってますので。
Doesn't deny he was drunk, but he just says, yeah, I wasn't driving.
そりゃ卒がない。おい、先生通してあげて。
There was an area cordoned off with blue plastic sheets. An officer rolled up the sheet and let Oishi and Irie pass. The forensic people were taking photos from many different angles. The blood splatters and bloody sandals were left untouched, marked with chalk and indicated with small alphabetized
こう
plates.
いうものは見慣れませんね。
Irie took out a handkerchief and covered his nose.
匂いがダメな時は口呼吸にするんですよ。
Yeah,
まあ、こういう匂いは目でも嗅げちゃうかな。
I've learned that some people don't. Okay, so how can I put this? I've talked to some people about this, and they're like, "What do you mean?" Where if I'm like, "Just stop breathing through your like, oh, something stinks," I'm like, "Okay, stop smelling it," and they're like, "What?" And it's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Just stop smelling it." Just they're like, "Oh, you mean like plug my nose with my fingers?" And I'm like, "No, just stop smelling it." And I don't know if it's a just a thing that people don't know how to do or something, but just like, yeah, if you breathe through your mouth, right? You could just plug your like I'm plugging my nose right now, but I'm not doing it with my finger. I'm just plugging it. And like this has got me so mad because I'll talk to some people about this and they'll be like, "No, what do you mean? You're always smelling." I'm like, "What? You're always smelling? At all times? Are you crazy?" I would go insane. I feel like I have to actively want to smell something, you know? And if something does stink, well, yeah, I could just plug my nose. You just stop smelling. I don't know. Is this normal? Or is this one of those things that I'm actually one of those genetic freaks? Because apparently there's a couple things about my body that actually confirm I'm a genetic freak. The body appeared to be that of a... Okay, well, there we go. That of a middle-aged woman. It was soaked in blood. It looked like a middle-aged woman because of the hair and what she was wearing. I mean... I don't know. I feel like there's a... Well, we don't know what her body type was like, but like... I don't know. I feel like it should be fairly easy to tell at a glance. Okay, well, at least the gender. The age, maybe not as much. But even still, I don't know. Okay, well, here we go. The reason why no one could be certain it was a middle-aged woman was because its face was completely pulverized. Again, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's not... I don't know, I've never been a forensic investigator. I have a grandma who was the lead forensic investigator for our entire city. And she would always tell us about every sort of like place where someone got brutally murdered. And like she would tell us all about it. And like, I don't know. And then my mom had to work to help forensics. She would be the one who would have to literally melt the meat off the bones of corpses. So yeah, some pretty intense stuff for the women in my family. And now my sister's a nurse. So it's like, it's happening to all of them, you know? Where meanwhile, the men, nope, we don't do that.
十中八九怨恨の線でしょうな。
Yeah, a brutally smashed in face, you don't say?
結婚とサンダル裏から見て、ここで殺したのは間違いないでしょう。でも見ての通り、ここは人通りが少ないと言ったって、往来のど真ん中です。ここで頭部が仕上げるまで殴り続けたってのは、ちょいとまともな話じゃないですからね。
So, okay, wait. He left the body right in the middle of the road? Is he stupid?
でね、ほら、腕とか見てみてください。
Oishi put on latex gloves and lifted the corpse's arm.
腕は綺麗なもんでしょう。
それはつまり腕で防いだとか抵抗したとかそういう痕跡がないという意味ですね。
さすが高学歴。仏さんはおそらく最初の一撃で脳震盪かなんかで気絶したんじゃないかと思うんです。で、星は確実に殺した手応えを得るためにさらに打撃を加えた。
You know what? This sucks to say. This really does suck to say. But like, unlike what we saw with Keiichi, I bet you this was cathartic as hell for Satoshi.
さらに言えば、仏さんはその時、うつ伏せに倒れたように思うんですよね。
Well, then how did the face get...
ねえ、服の汚れ具合からの勘ですが。
So one hit on the ground face down, then did he flip her over and go to
遺
town?
体は仰向けですね。
Yeah.
星は後頭部を散
Yeah,
々
okay.
潰して、明らかに頭蓋骨が砕けてる手応えを得ているにもかかわらず、わざわざ顔面を潰してるんじゃないかと思うんですよ。
The death was certain after the first hit? Wow. Irie looked like he was going to throw up, both because of the putrid smell and Oishi's reasoning.
遺体の顔面を殴るってのは、私の経験じゃかなり怨恨の線が強いです。それもだいぶ濃厚な。ってことはつまり、星は仏のかなり近辺にいるのは間違いないかと。
私を呼んだのが救命活動ではないということはよくわかりました。
Resuscitate what? There ain't much face left.
先生、この人が誰かわかりますかね？わかれば聞き込みの手間がだいぶ省けるんですがね。
Irie looked at the body once again. He looked away quickly and thought. Then after a while, Irie left the investigation area without saying anything.
すみません。私にはわかりかねます。
Now I wonder if he actually doesn't know. No, I feel no. The way they're framing this makes it seem like he does totally know, but he's like, hiding it for some reason. Good noise. Good noise, buddy. Okay, one sec. I'm trying to fix my damn eyes. Okay.
本当に
Oishi smirked and looked into Irie's eyes, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to look straight at you guys. As though Irie was hiding something.
別に隠してなんかいません。
先生もアルコールがまだ抜けきってないだけですよ。頭が冴えたら思い出すかもしれません。思い出したら教えてくださいね。
Oishi tapped Irie on the back. The doctor, saying he wanted some fresh air, left the scene. Kumagai returned.
おいさん、課長から無線です。1号車の無線っす。
入江の先生、ごまかしたな。
え？
いえいえ、仏の聞き込み急いでください。ほぼ間違いなくこの近くにお住まいです。
June 20th, 1930. Ah! Okay, if that's not the best example of my dyscalculia, like, because my brain read 19, but it was already pre-reading the 39 later. Because I absolutely pre-read when I read. It's how I read well. Is well, I read ahead and I queue up the words. But with numbers, brain go broken. That's dyscalculia, baby. June 20th, 1982, 9:39 p.m.
おいさん、連れてきました。
どうもどうも。
Okay, so who's gonna arrive now?
こんな夜更けに申し訳ありませんね。明日も学校なのに本当に申し訳ないです。
いえ。
Oh. Oh.
お父さんはどちらへ？
うちの寄付はあまり帰ってきませんので。
おお。いつ頃から？最後に帰ってきたのはいつ？
さあ。義母と喧嘩しているのを聞く限りは。沖宮でどこかのキャバレーの人と同棲してるとかなんとか。
Oh, so it's specifically a cabaret club girl. That's okay.
最後に会ったのはあまり覚えてないんですけど、先々週。
お父さんの連絡先はわかります？
いえ。
キャバレーの人と同居してるって言いましたよね。なんてお店かわかります？
いえ、沖宮のどこかにあるとしか知りません。
Wait a sec. Wait a sec. Do you think that when... I'm trying to think of the timeline here. No. This isn't with... No, that was in the farther past, right? Because they were all kids. Never mind. I was going to say, was then when Oishi was taking out the guy the main character guy from the last chapter and was going around to all the different clubs. I'm like, was that Recon? But no, that's totally different timeline. Unless Oishi is not bound by timelines, time traveling Oishi would be insane.
お父さんの名前は？
北条哲平です。
Oishi signaled Kumagai with his chin, who nodded while taking notes.
お父さんとお母さんはあまり仲良くなかったですか？
程度の度合いはわかりませんが、よくはなかったと思います。
率直に聞いて申し訳ないですけど、お母さんに恨みを持っていた人間とか知っていたら教えてほしいんですがね。
Do you think he'd show the brutalized body of his stepmother to the kid?
よくわからないです。
そうですか。じゃあもしも思い出したらでいいので、その時は教えてくださいね。これ私の名刺です。ここに電話番号ありますので。
はい。
じゃあ後日またいろいろとお話を伺うこともあるかもしれません。もしもお父さんと連絡がつきましたら、 沖宮警察署の大石まで至急ご連絡をとお伝えください。くまちゃん、北条さんを自宅まで送ってあげてください。
いえ、一人で帰れますから。
いいえ、そんなこと言わずにぜひ送らせてくださいな。お母さんを襲った犯人がまだ近くにいる可能性があるんですよ。あなたもまた狙われない保証なんてないんですからね。
Oh, we brought you in for questioning just randomly and they didn't let him know, but no, they super let him know.
お気遣いありがとうございます。でも、本当に結構ですね。
Satoshi tried to reject the offer, but Oishi and Kumagai insisted. In the end, Satoshi was forced to accept. He turned around to leave, when Oishi spoke to him as if he'd remembered something he'd forgotten to say.
北条さん。
はい。
大丈夫ですよ。心配しないでください。犯人はすぐに捕まりますよ。
手がかりとかあるんですか？
ありますよ。
どんなですか？
捜査上の秘密ですよ。
God, he's the scariest police guy I've ever seen in almost anything. Just the way he holds his cards so close to his chest and yet clearly lets you see that he has something, you know? Ordinary people might think that Oishi was trying to cheer the poor kid up with a joke.
いいね。人を殺すってのはかなり感情の高ぶるもんなんですよ。そりゃ冷静に殺してみせるロボットみたいなのも
He said
稀にいま
robot.
すがね。
He literally said robot.
感情が高ぶると。
人は極限まで感情が高ぶるといろいろ体に反応が出ます。発汗とか脱毛とかね。殺人現場に犯人の毛髪が落ちているってことは割とあることなんですよ。
We don't know if she was blonde too, do we?
まあ、ここは屋外ですからね。現場が絨毯の上ってのとはだいぶ勝手が違いますが。
犯人の毛髪は拾えたんですか？
さあね。鑑識の連中が大列組んでさっきから行ったり来たりしていろいろ探してます。
Even if this is a lie, this is a crazy thing to bluff to get him to freak out.
まだ結果待ちでね。何が出るやら今から楽しみですよ。
明日があるので今夜はもう帰ります。
そうなさってください。クマちゃん、送ってあげてください。
了解っす。
では北条さん、また近いうちに進展があったらお知らせしますよ。北条さんも何か思い出したりしたらぜひ教えてくださいね。憎き母の仇の逮捕に協力してまいりましょう。
Like, we at least know he's able to at least, like, get away, you know? But the question of kind of how that works out is another question. Sis called the morning after the Watanagashi festival to tell me that the curse had struck again for the 4th time. The victim was the evil aunt who was harassing Satoshi-kun and Satoko. Satoshi-kun's suffering should be over now, since the problem was with Satoko and the aunt's relationship to begin with. Maybe I should have celebrated, but I wasn't in the mood for some reason.
犯人ってもう警察は目星をつけてるのかな？
Sis went quiet when I asked that.
さあね、大石の野郎がしつこく聞き込みをして回ってるみたい。犯人は近しい人間に違いないと思ってるようだね。
Being identical twins, Sis and I think very much alike. If I suspected Satoshi-kun of being the murderer, so would she, yeah, and from the way you sort of said that, you probably already do. Because of this, I didn't have to mention the obvious.
サトシ君って祭りの日にアリバイあります？どうだろう。
I heaved a huge sigh.
バカですね。サトシ君は祭りに来ていた。そういうことでいいじゃないですか。
Oh, you're leading him. There's that noise in the background. Is that just the noise of evil?
気がつかなくてごめん。
I heaved another sigh. Sis was stupid enough to forget to make an alibi for him, even though the murder of his aunt alone would raise enough suspicion.
じゃあ、やっぱり、サトシが。サトシ君が殺したかどうかが問題じゃないでしょ。サトシ君が犯行の時間帯にアリバイがあったかが重要なんです。たく。後で警察がうちに来るみたいだから、来たらサトシは祭りで一緒だったって言うよ。お姉、取ってつけた嘘なんか何の役にも立たないです。何も手を打たなかったなら、今さら小細工しても無駄ってことです。
You've put a lot of thought into this.
せいぜい正直に喋ってください。お姉は芝居が下手なんだから、変に意識するとかえって勘ぐられますからね。ごめん。
This is an interesting dynamic, man. She sounded depressed. I was the one who should have been depressed. Mion usually handles things well, but she's not too good with emergencies. I was left worried for the future of the Sonozaki family. Mion must have been embarrassed. She soon changed the subject.
シオン、最近はあまりバイトに行けてなかったでしょ。ご検察痛み入ります。おかげさまで。ごめん。今日は私、夜まで姿を隠してるから、バイトに出られるんじゃない？
Sis had been appearing in public places during festival preparations and whatnot. As a result, I hadn't been able to pretend to be her. I hadn't been able to work. As someone who had to support myself, it was a bit of a pain. To be honest, I didn't feel like working. But I couldn't afford to be sitting around either. When I locked my apartment door before leaving, the door of the next apartment over opened and Kasai appeared.
シオンさん、お出かけですか?
Do you live right next to us?
そんなとこです。お姉が姿を隠してくれるそうなんで、久々にバイトに出ます。笠井、暇だったらおじさんの店まで車を出してもらってもいい？
シオンさん、しばらくはバイトを控えられた方がよろしくはないですか? 事件のせいで警察は園崎家界隈を監視しているようですし、あまり姿を表に出さない方がいいのではないかと思います。
お気遣いは嬉しいけど、バイトしないと食費もないわけですし。
Kasai might suggest he'd donate money to my cause. However, I'd sworn to myself when I started living here that I wouldn't depend on Kasai. While I don't obey everyone else's rules, I stick to my own. Kasai could tell that I was adamant in my decision. So, after repeating himself a couple times as a formal procedure, he decided to give me a ride after all. Every time we went to my uncle's store by car, we stopped at this traffic light. I knew it was going to happen again, but it still irritated me. Pedestrians passed by in front of the car. I was startled to see that one of them looked like Satoshi-kun. It was him. Though I'd spoken with him on the phone just a couple days before, it'd been a while since I saw him last.
笠井、悪いけどおじさんに、やっぱ今日のバイトは行けなくなったって伝えてくれる？私、ここで降ります。
え？シオンさん。
Kasai looked taken aback, but I got out of the car regardless. Yeah, you can't really stop someone getting out of a car. The light turned green. The car behind him honked while Kasai was shouting at me, so he had to start moving. Satoshi-kun was on his bike, but he was going really slowly. I caught up with him in a flash and tapped him on the back. Hello. That's an opening.
沖宮で会うなんて奇遇ですね、サトシ君。
If I talked to him with a smile, he might smile back. So I smiled as brightly as I could.
ミオン。
He looked tired as always. But as I could tell, he was trying to smile back. My worries suddenly disappeared. I was certain I looked happy. I was aware of that myself, so it must have been obvious to Satoshi-kun.
何があったか知らないけど、ミオンが楽しそうだね。
ええ、楽しいですよ。サトシ君の機嫌が良さそうなので、私も釣られて機嫌が良くなっただけです。
Okay. Weird thing to say about someone whose aunt just died, even if she is evil, but, when I teased him, he looked a bit embarrassed. It was like we were back in the good old days. I felt even happier than before.
サトシ君こそ、 何か機嫌が良くなるようないいことがありましたか？
So, like, Mion would absolutely know about the murder.
いいことなんかないよ。おばさんが亡くなって警察とかご近所とか
God, I
いろ
think
いろ大変だよ。
I think Shion might be infinitely stupider than Keiichi, which is insane. I might have asked something dumb. You don't say! He seemed to be okay with it, though. He'd frowned a bit at first, but Satoshi-kun continued smiling gently. He looked worn out, but satisfied, like he had accomplished something great. That was the mood I sensed from him, which again, boy, that confirms he was the murderer. Yeah, so I was convinced. The one who killed that wicked aunt who tormented Satoko was him. I had absolutely no proof, but I knew it intuitively. So I admitted all those questions. I knew Satoshi-kun's motive for killing his aunt and how badly he was driven into the corner. I knew the environment and the situation he was in. And I knew Satoshi-kun's feelings. I knew all of that. So I admitted all those questions. I wanted to celebrate his release from that curse, so I smiled like nothing was different as I asked.
サトシ君はどこかへお出かけですか？あ、バイトかな？
正解。その前に寄り道なんだけどね。
寄り道？
毎日ちゃんとショーケースにあるのを確認しないと
What?
なんだか不安で。
It's still there? That conversation reminded me. The reason he started his part-time job was to buy Satoko a huge teddy bear. It was being sold at the toy store just down the street. I recall that the teddy bear was stupidly expensive. Like, impossibly expensive. Satoko's birthday was right after the festival. I wasn't sure what day, though. Wait, didn't he say he quit his job? Maybe he was going to greet his ex-coworkers and clean out his locker or something? Either way, he'd be completely free very soon. Maybe he hadn't been paid yet. That's why I wanted to check if they still had that teddy bear. Maybe he was only getting paid on Satoko's birthday. When we got near the toy store, he rushed to the display window. He looked relieved to see that it hadn't been sold yet. Yeah, because who would buy that?
よかったよかった。大丈夫。ちゃんとあるよ。
買えるだけのお金は稼げてるわけですよね。なら予約とかしちゃえばいいのに。
もう。
He probably hadn't thought of that. Really did need someone to look after him. I looked into the display window over his shoulder. Teddy bear wasn't that cute in my opinion. It looked huge and cramped in the middle of the store's showcase. Oh, this is like one of those, like, as big as a person could fit a person inside ones. Oh. Really, it looked more like a display model than an item for sale.
値札がついてないけど、これ本当に売り物なんですか？これ一体いくらするんです？
売り物なのは確認したから間違いないよ。
Oh, he's just assuming.
値段は？予算は大丈夫？
大丈夫だよ。ちゃんと確認してあるよ。
Satoshi-kun thought I was teasing him again. He pouted and looked a bit sulky.
予算が大丈夫なら問題ないじゃないですか。なら予約しちゃいましょう。その方がサトシ君も心の荷が下りていいでしょうしね。
We entered the store and looked for a clerk.
誰もいないのかな。
そりゃ好都合です。サトシ君、お給料日を待たずにぬいぐるみが手に入るかもですね。
Yeah, you're just gonna steal the gigantic frickin' thing. No one will see that.
ダメだよミオン。泥棒はいけないよ。
冗談ですって。軽く受け流してほしかったんだけどな。ひょっとして私が盗っ人の真似を平気でできる女だと思ってます？
あ、ごめん。
Satoshi-kun smiled apologetically. I puffed up my cheeks to tease him. It really had been a while since the last time we did this. In between those times, many undesirable things happened that I wanted to forget. But now, I felt as though all those things simply vanished into the air around us. I found an old person napping in the back. Well, he must be the clerk, I thought. He looked to be fast asleep.
お店の方ですよね。
I poked his shoulder. Wait, Wasn't he... Wasn't he a Sonozaki? Remember, he was a Sonozaki, wasn't he? Unless the store changed ownership in between, but like... I poked his shoulder, but he didn't look like he was going to wake up. When I did that, a middle-aged woman wearing an apron came in.
おじいちゃん、店番頼んだのにすっかり眠りしちゃった。お客さん来てるってのにもうごめんなさいね。うちのおじいちゃんももうすっかりボケちゃって。
The middle-aged woman shook the old man awake and told him to go back to the living room. She went to the cash register after that.
お恥ずかしいところ見せちゃってごめん。何かお買い上げ？
買うんじゃなくて予約なんですけど、あのショーケースの中の一番大きいぬいぐるみなんですけど。
あれ？いいの？値札見た？かなり高いけどお小遣い。
はい、ギリギリ足りるはずです。
もうすぐバイトのお給料が入るそうなので、それまで予約したいんですけど。
The woman looked a bit hesitant at first, but she eventually wrote down Satoshi-kun's name and accepted the reservation. Satoshi-kun received a slip of paper.
ね、これでもう誰かに先に買われちゃう心配はもう必要ありません。
お給料がもらえるのはもうすぐなんだけどね。これで安心できる。
He would have kept coming to check every day if he hadn't done this now. He would have spent his time needlessly worrying. Satoshi-kun looked very relieved indeed.
これならもっと早くに予約をしていればよかったな。
普通の人は欲しいと思ったら即予約します。そういう思考に至らないサトシ君はちょいと希少です。
So very fun to tease him. Those painful days seem unbelievable now. Satoshi-kun looked like he'd forgotten everything that happened up until yesterday.
でも、
あ
りがとう。
Oh, you do get head pats again. Satoshi-kun held out his hand to touch my head. Was he going to stroke it? Okay. Like, I said that line, and then it hit me. You can't... Okay. I felt my face reddening already. Yo, me too! Even before he touched my head, I felt tingly, remembering the last time. I didn't care about the murder or whatever else happened. As long as Satoshi-kun had his freedom, everything will be all right. I'd be content as long as we could live happily from today onward. Oh! But Satoshi-kun's hand never reached my head. I slowly opened my eyes. Wait, what? Only to realize the situation had drastically changed. There were 4 men in suits blocking our way. It looked as though they'd been waiting for us to exit the toy store. Are these Sonozakis? No! The oldest of the 4 men stepped forward while smirking. I'd never met this man, but it looked like he knew both Mion and Satoshi-kun. He was probably a cop. I ran a search for information in my head, and found some right away.
こんにちは。北条さん、園崎さん。いい雰囲気だったところを邪魔しちゃって実に申し訳ないです。
This must be Kuraudo Oishi, the cop who's investigating the series of mysterious deaths. He thinks that the Sonozaki family is behind all those cases. In other words, he's an enemy of the Sonozaki family. He has deep connections with other investigation divisions in the police force, and likes to nose around the businesses in the area. He annoys the Sonozaki family enough as it is by interfering with its Yakuza business, let alone his suspicions on the series of mysterious deaths. Naturally, as the family's successor, he's not a welcome figure to Mion Sonozaki. I tried to imagine how Sis would react.
ありゃ、大石さんですか。お仕事ご苦労様です。 大の大人が4人も揃っておもちゃ屋さんに何かご用で？まさかお人形さん買いに来たってわけでもあるまいに。
I know what they want, and it's not a toy. It's probably not me either. They want Satoshi-kun. I took a look at Satoshi-kun. He seemed a bit uncomfortable. The other 3 cops loosely surrounded us to prevent our escape.
北条さん、実はですね、ちょいと伺いたいお話がありまして。
何それ？任意同行ってやつ？サトシ君、こんなのに付き合う必要ないよ。行こう。
No, I think if a cop says you have to, you kind of have to. I pushed on his shoulder, but he just stood there, looking pale and bewildered. Bewildered? No. He actually looked resigned. Then, I recalled Sis's mistake. It's obvious that he killed his aunt from the circumstances. You don't even have to look at the crime scene. How could Mion have failed to create an alibi? That stupid Mion must have spoken to the police without making up anything at all. She must have not told them that she knew where Satoshi-kun was. If she hadn't done anything, the villagers wouldn't work to help her. It was just a matter of time till the police uncovered Satoshi-kun's complete lack of an alibi. The police were trying to corner him and lead him to confess. I looked at Satoshi-kun's face once again. He looked like a dead man. He probably didn't know he could refuse to be interrogated. Wait, you can? What? You can do that? I guess that's the right to remain silent, huh? I guess, yeah. If he was taken to the station and grilled by Oishi, he'd confess in a minute. Somebody had to protect him. Nobody had ever been there for him. I had to step up now. But how? Would it be possible to alter what Mion had already told them, saying it was a mistake? That wasn't going to work. If I had more time, I'd come up with an excellent idea. But I don't have that much time at all. To pressure him, the cops were drawing nearer. Satoshi-kun must have felt intimidated. He might end up turning himself in due to the pressure while I'm stuck trying to come up with something. I have to do something now. I have to say something. Otherwise, just in case, I'm gonna hit quick save. Satoshi-kun might give in. I have to save him. Oishi drew nearer. Satoshi-kun fell back. Nope. Okay, I thought there'd be a choice.
大して時間は取らせませんから、そんな怖がらないでください。
It won't take much time? He just said it. He just said that he wouldn't let him out if he caught him now. Satoshi-kun, don't give in. If you give in now, everything you've been working for will be ruined. Oh, bro sounds like he's choking. Satoshi-kun looked like he was at his breaking point. Oishi was clearly aware of it. Oishi smirked and held out his arm to grab Satoshi-kun's shoulder. I felt electrified when I saw that. That hand shouldn't be allowed to touch Satoshi-kun. The moment Oishi touched his shoulder, he'd give in. He'd go to the police station and confess everything.
サトシ君にアリバイがあるか知りたいわけですよね。
Oishi turned his face toward me, his left hand hanging in the air. I wasn't very prepared for this. I just had to stop Oishi no matter what. I only needed to gain some time. It didn't really matter what I said.
そうですよ。北条聡さんのアリバイが知りたいんです。私たちの捜査がまずいからなのかな。犯行の時間帯にどうしても北条さんのアリバイが見つけられないんですよ。仕方ないから恥を忍んでご本人に直接そのあたりをお伺いしようかと思いましてね。
そんなの本人に聞く必要ないです。
Are you gonna do the "we were smooching out behind the thing" or something?
私がアリバイ証明しますから。
ありゃ、そりゃほんと。なら助かるな。あの晩園崎さんが神社にいてお祭りの最後まで過ごしていたことはすでにあなたからも聞いているし、そのあなたがそこで北条さんとも一緒だったと言ってくれるなら でもあんた、以前そのあたりをお聞きしたとき、北条さんのことは一言も言ってませんよね。実はいましてって、今頃おっしゃるおつもりで？祭り会場の誰一人、北条さんを見ていないのに、あなただけは見ていたと、そうおっしゃるおつもりで？
そうです。私と一緒にいました。それで十分です。
あなたが仲良しのお友達と終始一緒にいたのは分かっているし、私も会場で実際にお見
You
か
were
けし
there?
ています。
Do we know that he's staken out Watanagashi?
それでも一緒にいたとおっしゃるわけで？そいつはちょっと苦しくない？ん？
Oishi approached me with a creepy smile. Was he teasing me because my excuse sounded funny? I didn't think so. He was frustrated due to being interrupted when he was about to catch a big fish.
祭り会場でずっと一緒に遊んでたのに、すっかり忘れてて今頃になって思い出したと、そうおっしゃるおつもり？園崎ミオンさん。
I did get a little scared, but I couldn't stop myself. I could save Satoshi-kun if I reveal my real identity. I was aware of the risk. Grandma would certainly capture me if I revealed it. I didn't think of consequences after that. I didn't even consider that they could be like, oh my god!
私ミオンじゃないですし。
Her pronouns are he, him.
だからもともと綿流しになんか言ってません。
あ？
サトシ君とは綿流しの晩は沖宮のファミレスでずっとおしゃべりしてま
I
した。
don't even want to put that in the thumbnail. The fact it's nearly the exact same is great.
エンジェルモートって店ですので、どうぞ店長にも確認を取ってください。
Oishi was still smirking, but he apparently felt confused.
あんた、何を言ってるの？あんたミオンじゃないなら誰なわけ？
園崎シオンです。ミオンの双子の妹です。初めてお会いしますね。こんにちは。
Oishi looked perplexed, like he didn't believe what I'd said. He frowned.
園崎ミオンさんに双子の妹がいたなんて初めて知りましたよ。あんた、大人をからかってんの？
からかってなんかないですよ。どうぞ戸籍でも何でも調べてみてください。それともお姉を呼んで二人で並んでみせれば信じます？
All the cops looked bewildered now.
園崎シオンさん？
はい。シオンですが。
あんたにもちょっと来てもらってもいいですかね？あんたが園崎シオンさんで北条さんと一緒におられたって言うんなら、あんたにも話を聞かせてもらいたいもんです。
ええ、望むところです。お手柔らかによろしくお願いいたします。
So she sacrificed her own freedom for him, huh? Wow, that's obviously didn't go very well. The cops gathered at their car and started discussing something. Looked like they never expected this to happen. I hope to be able to fake Satoshi-kun's alibi for at least a little while. Shouldn't be too difficult to talk to Sis about this, then forge up an alibi together.
サトシ君、何を聞かれてもエンジェルモートで私とおしゃべりをして過ごしていたと言い張ってください。私が何とかしますから。何を聞かれてもよく覚えていないとか。サトシ君なら下手なことは言わず黙り込んだ方が無難かもです。
Satoshi-kun wore a startled expression. I was telling him something important. He'd apparently decided not to listen. Is bro still in shock?
サトシ君、聞いてます？ここでしっかりしないと刑事たちの思うツボです。
He must have been feeling deceived. No wonder. I just confessed that I wasn't Mion, but her twin sister. I really had been deceiving him.
怒ってます？
なんで？
騙してて。
Watch him be like, no, I kind of knew that. Satoshi-kun started laughing. I didn't know why he'd laugh, because he wasn't the type of person who would laugh in order to hide something.
たまに教室のミオンと話が食い合わないことがあったから
違和感は感じてたんだ。
Okay, no, that's, you know what? The relief of, oh, thank God, the girl that I might have a crush on isn't bipolar. She has a twin sister. I get that.
やっとわかったよ。
I get that. I'd
怒ら
laugh
ない
too.
でくれるんですか？その騙してたこと。
Satoshi-kun looked puzzled. It was like he didn't know whether he should be upset about it or not. Or maybe he was only pretending to be that way.
はじめまして。じゃないんだよね。
はい、そうなります。
そっか。シオンってどう書くの？
詩を読むの詩に音でシオンです。
シオン。ん？
ん？
いい名前だね。
There's no demon in there, you know?
すみませんが、署までご同行願いますかね。粉末でよければ、コーヒーか紅茶かくらいは選べますよ。
Damn. Well, so she again, it's just the fact that she self-sacrificed for, as what we so far know, as a totally, you know, forlorn conclusion. Notebook 29. Again, like to see here. Absentee present covered for murder. This is purple. Either Satoshi-kun was smart or very lucky. Or maybe it wasn't him. The police found nothing at the crime scene to indicate his involvement in the murder. Okay, this is Shion's files. Yet Satoshi-kun was still the prime suspect. Considering his home environment, he had strong enough motive. He had no alibi. The police had everything other than physical evidence. It wasn't surprising that Oishi took a chance. Probably didn't expect me to step in. But what I did was what I did was too little to avert his suspicion of Satoshi-kun. Oishi believed that Satoshi-kun did it. He was waiting for Satoshi-kun to fall apart and confess. That's what both Oishi and I were thinking. But that hypothesis was destroyed later on. I'll not talk about it now, but Oishi's theory will be disproven, and the police will be thrown into shock. A question comes to mind. That is, who saved Satoshi-kun? Wait, what? I can only think of the possibility that the Sonozaki family invented the culprit. So the saving in this case refers to that they did later place the blame on someone else, I guess. And so what they ended up doing is he actually did get, he got free, free, quote unquote, because someone else came forward that they accepted as a suspect. That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, guys, we are moving on to chapter 7 next time, where we will be, whole new territory. We're after the Watanagashi. The murder has happened, but we do know that the whole, Satoshi leaving thing came after, right? His transfer or whatever came later. So, yeah, that's all we know. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you guys next time for some more of our Let's Play of Higurashi, where we'll continue on with that. So we'll see you guys then. Ciao. Yo.